All right, good
All right.
morning. We have the wonderful Dan Fradenburgh on the CRE Spotlight here to talk to us about 506B, a very important offering. Let's go, Dan.
All right, awesome. And the way I want to frame it is I know that we'd all like to make the right choice at the right time, but almost nobody walks into commercial real estate thinking, I really want to learn how to remain compliant. I mean, I've watched many people flock into commercial real estate syndication in general for its opportunity, and it's the most natural thing in the world to seek a passive investor such as yourself, Andrew. But doing so can jeopardize your business at the hands of the SEC. And at the same time, I've found this out, and I've built my network of active and passive investors very publicly, but my compliance for private deals is baked in. There's literally been no opportunity for my guests to get involved in one of my own deals because there weren't any. And that's not an accident. I was paying my bills with CRM services. So, what really comes to my mind that came into my approach to 506B is working with regulated medical records and credit card data in CRMs all this time. My ears really perked up when I found out that around 85% of exempt offerings can only include friends and family. And the requirement is that you have documented proof of your prior substantive relationship, or else you risk your exemption being yanked. Honestly, it takes a while to explain all that stuff to anybody at all. So, the hidden play of what I've been doing is trying to create a network of investors with the wherewithal to stay compliant and make sure that I know I would have no credible ability to claim that I was publicly solicited by any of my guests. So, if somebody has an SEC complaint lodged against them, it's not the guy in their network talking about private syndication compliance all the time, because otherwise that'd be my first guess if the shoe were on the other foot.
Oh, wonderful. So thanks for bringing up the issue of 506B versus 506C. Tell us a little more about your specific product, because we know you have this great background in CRM and technology, and you're kind of the tech guy now. That's your pigeonhole within our CRE industry. That we know your genius goes well beyond that. But for today, we'll skip poutine and discuss only techie stuff. And me, I'm not a techie, so I'd love to hear it. Tell us a little more about 506 being me.
Sure, sure. So the way that securities attorneys generally insist, it's they say if you're going to have people in your 506B deal, make sure that the standard questionnaire has been filled out by everybody who you're actually going to involve as an investor. But when I picked that apart and I realized, okay, if you're going to save all that data to individual fields, what is the end that it's trying to meet? And what is missing, as far as I'm concerned, is do you really know somebody's level of sophistication by those simple answers when we've got Apple, who's already taught everybody to scroll to the bottom and hit I accept? And also, everybody's gone through enough schooling to realize that if you think you're about to give the wrong answer, you might think, well, maybe I should give the answer that this person wants to hear, even though in investment that causes a huge number of dangers. So what I was doing is saying, how do I save that information where if I were the prosecuting attorney, I'd be like, oh no, wait a second, this person actually did try to understand that person's financial situation, whether they understood what illiquidity in an asset really means, and are they making a good situation that will keep them financially sound. That's what I've been trying to include. So that's what I put together in 506 BME. And I also make sure that you can integrate it with your CRM. So when you're emailing everybody on your list, you can separate the ones where, yes, these guys know what they're talking about and they're a good match to be telling about your private deals, whereas these other ones, you just don't have the substantive relationship. So I'm really trying to go above and beyond what the SEC is asking for right now, because I want everybody to be working with people who are the right fit. I don't want people pitching willy nilly in my network and the deals that I'm going to be a part of. I got to be sure that the SEC is not just going to ruin the party.
That's a very important point. Substantive, it's a rather ambiguous term. Does substantive mean a 15-minute call over Zoom and you checked off a couple of boxes off a form? And yes, the burden of proof is always going to be on the defendant. Unfortunately, we say the opposite, but in reality, we both know that that's not the case. And if your entire professional career, let alone the possibility of going to jail, is based upon an ambiguous question, yes, I'd like a rather concrete and documented answer. So, Dan, the most important thing, and it's right on the screen, but I'm going to ask the dumb question anyways. What's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
So Dan Fradenburgh is a nice distinct name, and LinkedIn is where I spend most of my time. But 506b.me or 506bme.com both send you to the site, and it's got FAQs, resources, and all that kind of stuff. Those are the best ways to reach me. And then when you do open a paid level account, you do set up an interview with me for the compliance and investor profile. So that's the best way to reach me.
I really appreciate it, Dan. Thanks for being on the CRE Spotlight.